Okay, family, we'll wait for the notifications to land. Everyone on the replay, hello, guten tag, willkommen. I have a message to deliver. The messenger, David, has indeed a message to deliver, something to announce, involuntary thoughts along that realm. Targeted individual, no, blessed individual is what I will assign to this. And thank you for joining. I believe it is the secondo of September, the 9th month out of 12 in the cycle progression of the 12 months. But sept equals 7. Initially, sept, scepter and orb, Anu, Anubis, Anu, Anu, Niki, September, orb and sept, and Ankh. It's 2019 Gregorian calendar, but we say CE. We just click my back. I've got a message. I'm going to give you a laugh. I'm going to try and give you your own personal Jesus. What happened is this. I was away in Hungary and I woke up to a song in my head. This never happens. When I'm asleep, a slumber, away with the fairies, I have blackness. There is maybe a few intermittent bits, but there is nothing, very seldom, nightmares or dreams as such. So when I awake, I have tiny eyes. They are very puffy. I am like a newborn puppy, a newborn foal, horsey, if you like, and it is quite comical as I emerge into the new day, into the new dawn. I don't know how the rest of you are when you awake, but hear me out. I open my eyes and I'm like, what's this tune? Now, given the fact that I've done 4,000 travelled miles in 11 days, I have had the transistor radio, the wireless has been on in the horsey, so I may have listened to this, and this is where it's embedded, okay? It may not have come just while I've been asleep. I don't know where it came from, is my point, and I do not recollect or hearing or singing this song. And then I wake up to Depeche Mode, Your Own Personal Jesus, reach out and touch me, was what was being said as I awoke. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a laugh. I've got it queued up. I've got a little karaoke here queued up. I'm going to ring this track. I'm just going to give you the message as I fry some vegetables. Alright fam, there's a little bit of salt needed before we start. I'll let you drop in. Thank you for joining. Those that are here, get ready to have a laugh. Incredible, weird, random. And if you'd like to go on the interwebble and type in Depeche Mode, Personal Jesus, you will find the song title copyrighted Sony, Depeche Mode, music, lyrics by said owners, artists, and you can read along and know that I'm not crazy and making this up. So without further ado, let me entertain you. I hope this works. Martin Lee Gore, G-O-R-E. Reach out and touch faith. Beginning, and he comes in with the drums. It's got a nice guitar. Watch the video. Nice, black, occult symbology, bit deserty and Palestine. Your own personal Jesus. Yes, I. Someone to hear your prayers. Someone who cares. Unlike the UK government. Boris, hear this. Your own personal Jesus. Here we go. Someone to hear your prayers. Someone who gives a rat's ass. Here we go. It's a bit of a loop. Bit of guitar. Some drums. Feeling alone and you're all alone. Flesh and bone by the telephone. Lift up the receiver and I'll make you a believer. What? Never knew this when I was a child. Never heard this. Take second best. Well, put me to the test. things on your chest that you need to confess. I will deliver, you know, I'm a forgiver. It's not me, myself, but it's the song written. Reach out and touch faith. Reach out and fist bump the faith. Don't forget, reach out and touch faith. This was put in my head. Quite prolific, don't you think? Your own personal Jesus. Someone to hear your prayers. Someone who cares. Yeah, not much to this repetition song. Your own personal Jesus. Someone to hear your prayers. Someone who's there. I'm such a good singer, aren't I? But there's not much to this song. The lyrical content is very simple. It's very concise. There's a chorus and a verse, and it repeats. It's doing a... Here's the bit I'm at now in the rhythm track. 4, 3, 2, 1. Feeling alone and you're all alone. Flesh and bone by the telephone. What? Lift up the receiver and I'll make you a goddamn believer. I'm adding a few little bits. He will deliver and you know he's a forgiver. Who's he on about there? Depeche Mode. And you gotta reach out and fist bump faith, your own personal Jesus to order. I'm gonna stop now. I've put you through enough pain. I'm at 3 minutes of a 3-minute 48. Reach out and touch faith and re-loops here. So have I got any scribers left? 9. Well, thank you 9. You're very brave. Sorry for that. You know why I DJ. I've never claimed to sing. I will put the ego to one side and I will stand and deliver. I am not the one that is delivering and forgiving there. That's somebody divine and creator. So have you listened to that tune before? Was it Marilyn Manson that did a little cover on that as well? There isn't much of a message there to get confused with. And who sent that to me? If you sent that to me, let me know. You were saying, Dave, you need to, you know, on the quantum level. Otherwise, it was put in there randomly on the Travels. And as I awoke after formatting and doing the studies, works and discoveries of the heliocentric bibliothèque decoded, I think my subconscious and a little bit of madness has come into play there, and what you get is that message. So that's never happened. I spoke to a few since and asked questions, what go on, this happened to you, you know, and so forth and so on. I'll look at your comments and say hello in a minute. The last bit is I've just been live on an unlisted cast and I've gone for 2 hours in splspro.com. Thank you to the ones that attended and saw the cast and joined in. If you are wanting to network and communicate and converse, dialogue, etc., study in a private, non-public way using video, then every Sunday from 8 p.m. GMT till around about 10-11, depending on the frequency of the initiates of self, then I'll be there taking questions privately. I was supposed to be there last night at 8 p.m. I promised and made an agreement, and I fell asleep, fatigued somewhat at 7:45. I passed out on the sofa through tiredness, and I missed the cast for SPO's Pro as I set up. So I've just been live today for 2 hours on an unlisted cast that you can't find or see. The link is only available through the .com, and it must not be shared. And we're going to do that every week. There's a schedule being set up for that, as opposed to these public updates that I'm done. Now, on my playlist on Indiglo, we have quite a lot, and they are random, and I need to, this week, they will be tidied up. But so far, on the heliocentric bibliothèque decoded Bible studies, we have 14 videos for you to look at. And some of them are not my presentation, and there are others that I've put on here. But we have got the Old Testament study with Daniel, King Nebuchadnezzar, and papacy, prophecy, the seas, the church state, Roman laws, the media, money and military aspect of it. stuff to do with the firmament. It's amazing what's coming out with the firmament at the minute, and the elves, and it looks like there's a push for disclosure, a big push. Flat Earth, wow, you know me, I'm in the middle. I do substance over the form, biblical prophecies, pre-Christian gnosis, the story of Genesis being found in the Sumer, Numa, Elish, and the Battle of Gilgamesh. Okay, so not only have we proven that the New Testament is a Roman inceptive way for the Jews to pay taxes, much like if you read and watch that and look at the studies of Joseph Atwill and Josephus, and my correlation to the Roman Caesars getting the Jews to pay tax via the worship of Jesus, your personal Jesus. Ah, my days. Well, Elizabeth, not being of English Anglo-Saxon origin initially, in a position between God and man, the bridge of taxing is effectively, I can articulate now, the equivalent of comparable to studies of historical conceptualization and divided pagan clubs of Rome, then the monarchy and the taxation for Anglo alone by QE2 and subsequent HRMC is the Roman consulate Caesar at the top, not Anglo blood taxing like the depiction of New Testament Romans alongside Caesars with the Jesus New Testament with the Jews underneath, having to look at, wow. So it's a bit freaky at the moment. It's a bit deep, but I'm in the middle of some works and publications, and what I've done to help you out is to give you where I sometimes look at. There's also one by End Times Productions. I want you scribes to know about this channel. I love this channel, and I've noticed its scribes going up. There are 124,000 scribers. End Time Productions. They've got a video up from wow, so it's a bit emotional. And when is it from? 27th of August 19, so it's new and it's relevant. It caught my eye on the recommended, and it's called the God Wants You to See This. I want you to find that on my channel's playlist, each and every one that's watching this. If you need a boost, right, and you need a little bit of a little reminder from equivalent of R. Graham, well, it's R. Dave, the messenger, has got a video on the playlist linked from, I haven't downloaded it, I've just linked it as we do. And fist bumps for Bosch, whoever's created this. End Times have got their insignia on the bottom right with the watermark. But for you were made in my image, Genesis 1:27. Let me read you some now. In me you live and move and have your being, Acts 17:28. Yeah, let me just get you in the mood for it, all right? For you are my offspring, Acts sinking. Look at that, the word offspring. We use that for a particular reason, and there it is. I knew you even before you were conceived, Jeremiah 1:4 and 5. Messages from God to say you're loved, all right? I chose you when I planned creation, Ephesians 1:11-12. Now, them numbers make my arms stand up, hairs on my arms. You are not a mistake, for all your days are written in my book. Psalms 139.15-16, chapter and verse, yeah? Let me carry on. Some real, it goes on for 10 minutes, I think. Yeah, it's really good. I determined the exact time of your birth, and where you would live, Acts 17:26. It's just like a 10-minute video of messages from the Bible, and they've put it in an order of such of this. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, Psalm 139.14. I knit you together in your mother's womb, Psalm 139.13. What? Yeah, it did make me tear up this, so if you're a bit emotional and sensitive and you need a boost and you get it from this, the boost you will get is a little tear, involuntary, as you read and synchronize in with the message through this, typology. And brought you forth on the day you were born. I'll leave it at that. You've got the channel and you know the video, and to find it easily, you go to the playlist, the Heliocentric Bibliotech Decoded. Funny little thing for you now. Imagine this. So the V5s with the DVLA. I'm in between transferring titles, property and whatnot, and we've been travelling in Europe. And then upon the return from the ferry into Anglo land, you know, on the shores when we manifested, I did a silly little thing. I accidentally drove into the UK customs stop and search border control, and as I did so, the bloke in the cabin who directs the traffic shouted me because I'd gone the wrong way. I just thought it was an open lane, and I thought I'll utilise it. Then Queenie said, "David, you see where you're going? You're going to see your friends." I went, "What?" UK border, passport control, customs, excise, whatnot. And I was like, oh, I see, I'm taking a wrong turn. And I said, just, you know, we're not done anything wrong, everything's good, got all the paperwork and, you know, things that we may need to you know, deal with this. And I got in there, the radio went, and it was a bloke in the cabin that had shouted me that, you know, I went down the wrong way, and he was telling them that he hadn't sent us and that we'd gone down by error. And yeah, the lady, she was searching, 2 vehicles were in, or horses, and they were being searched, and the lady looked up and she went, you should not be here, go. And she pointed to this exit place, and I said, thank you. I wasn't going to argue with her because, you know, no V5s, line of work that I'm in, and arguments that I've had with conditional acceptances and so forth, including PCNs, as you've seen. I thought I'll just leave this and council tax and whatnot. I'll get out of here. So hysterically, I willingly, through my own volition, travelled from the ferry and from the passport checking office into UK border control, customs and export you know, search area. Because I wasn't sent there and I'd gone there voluntarily, they just told me to get out. She scowled and she didn't look very happy. It was almost like I'd encroached on their own personal property. You know, things was going down there already. They were busy. There was a full ferry to be searching. They do treat you like cattle. There's no, you know, the actual ones on the ship are not so bad, and the ones that are, let me think, the ones that are in the offices, you know, some of the customs guys are really good. And when you say things like, when they're dealing with you and they're finished, you say, may God bless you, and thank you very much, may God bless you. They look up again and they give you eye contact. They're like, oh, okay, you've blessed me, have you? Thank you. And they give you a little nudge in that, and they know that it makes them happy. You know, a little thank you, whatever. You don't have to say bless you, not at all. But thank you, ultimately. And there are some out there that happen to, you know, treat you with a bit of care. But when you're in peak time and there's money to be made and you're on these cargo, merchant, ferry type environments, then, you know, what do you expect? You know, you're on a equivalent of Zeebrugge there, Dover to Calais, Dunkirk, you know, France and so forth. It's his commercial area, it's maritime, it's very interesting, insightful, and you know, it's just relevant to some of the areas that we're in. So I'm going to go to the comments, leave them to simmer for a wee bit. All is well. You're back. Cooking dinner, alright. The Queen is back. What are we saying on here? Someone to hear your prayers, someone who cares. That's right. There's not many of them about in these day and ages. That Clint, Eric, I thought it was reach out and touch faith. That's why you go to the internet, Leeds, and you do your own due diligence and research, and you find out. I did a little bit of live in the mix editation there. I did warn you, so there you go. Fly, I can't get enough pepper lately. Nice one. Good for your guts. Faith, he did indeed. He said you got to have faith. You have got in touch with Joseph about his book. I told him you may want to get in touch. Eric, bless you. No, I haven't. I'm on it today and tomorrow. I've done what I've said there, and I'm attending to emails. .com. It's quite busy and bursting with a lot of informative posts, you know, insightful information, leads, PDFs. Wow, I've got all my hands full with that. So that we'll be doing later on. But Eric, that's a priority, and let me assure you now. Oh, telling okay, stop it. I've never been a singer, all right. I am a musician in the form, but never a singer. Stop it, fly. Hypothetically, yes. In reality, nay. Nay, lad, nay. Nice one, thank you. All appreciate it. You ramble on, fly. That's what it's here for, and that's what the casts are. If no one rambled on, then I wouldn't cast. You know, be pointless. That is wow. That I know I haven't explained this. It's been since me and Yanka was in the deep end of the swimming pool, the thermal spa, and she's quite energetic. So she said she wanted to try tricks and diving and whatnot, so we did. And I ended up creating this one. It's my own fault. I said get on like a piggyback, and she clinged on to me. And I was teaching her how to spin by when you're in the water, put your arms out and do like the paddle with your hands closed. And I was going forward, and I was diving down a bit. And then as I was diving and got the momentum with her, like clinging on like a turtle or a little gorilla in the wild, I would then paddle that way and spin us round. And because you're going forward and you do like a spin, it really messes your tummy up. It makes you feel like when you're on the road in a roller coaster and you do that and you lose the oof, well, that's what you get. You get very disorientated, and it feels very, very unique. So I did that a few times. I went down a bit too far, and I was paddling, and my face just went shash. I was like my glasses, my nose, and I spun up, got to the surface, and yeah, got a little bit of a scab there. Not been kissing nobody's butt, me butt kisser. No, you have no proof of that claim, I do believe. So. Deed of whatever that was, who was it? Deed of breathing, yes, so I thank you, and noted. Shame, eh? The shame of it. So I can't read the comments, it won't let me see. Is it true that if you want to vote that it's your contract to pay council tax? You mean no? That's called the electoral roll, and if you're on the electoral roll, you have consented and signed and given. You look into it. Look at the electoral roll. When you talk about is it true you vote and contract and tax, that's all linked to you giving the equitable, signature. You've got the equitable instrument, the equitable asset. Asset's an instrument, your signature is the asset, the equitable one. If you afford that to anything, it's a bond and a contract. So yes, in a nutshell, but you would need to check the particulars yourself. I'm just here for a quick update, so that should expose that. It is an offence for you. It says, not me saying this, it says it on the brown envelope, addressed to the legal military Roman occupier, war terminology yet again in the way that we see it. And brother Steve McRae, as you'll remember the video where he rung up the TV licensing and spoke to the agent there, and she was adamant that he had to supply not just the reference number, which would prove that he's the authorised, one to talk about said account that they're chasing via licensing. He said, I haven't got an address to confirm the legal occupier. There's no legal occupier at this address. And he said, so just take the reference and we'll move it from there. So you have it on many formats where they need a certain amount of criteria for enforcement of law. This isn't for enforcement of code, secular code, aka law. So that's the force of law. We don't force, we don't, anything in that nature. You look at the force of law, the rule of law and due process, consent, the way the commandments are written. There's 5 and there's 5. Look at how they are, and the way that the law is if you submit and you allow, but presumed consent and plausible deniability is where most of these institutions are at. So rest assured, there is a lot of serious groundbreaking work being done by many to ensure that this will not be inflicted upon our assets and lineage going forward. So let me see, where did we get to? Council, yeah. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, much appreciated, sister. I worked on Dover Docks in the service area. Yeah, wow. Welcome, Brie. Yes, thank you, Eric. The brown envelopes get to the occupier from council saying, do not ignore, I put no contract on it. Well, brown envelopes, anything that is sent, domestic mail, non-registered, that's sent to domestic mail, we got here, I'll say I'll call you back shortly. That has come through a letterbox. There's no proof of anything. So if someone's trying to hold legal claim, lawful claim, and they're posting using a domestic mail system with stamps and no signature to record and special or signing or track traced recorded, then in a court of law, if anybody was to lay claim on you and they can't prove in a court of law that they've served or noticed you in a non-domestic capacity with said proof, then they haven't got a leg to stand on. So anybody that tries to commit legal, lawful business and conduct using the Universal Postal Union, which has rules in itself about that, is breaching them rules and can't prove in a court of law because they've used domestic and non-domestic, which is another foul, mess up there in itself. So is it true, about that? Hello, my queen, nearly done. You want to vote? Put no contract on it. So you've communicated with them, and by you putting no contract on that brown envelope instead of binning it or doing something else, I'll say binning it in this instance, then you have let them know that there's someone at that address, occupier, that's not contracted, no consent. So if there's no consent and there's no contract, you've let them know. You can play the game, or you can try and do it with the correct notices and the effects such as. So interesting, your decision, ultimately. But there are things like the presence of the body corrects the error of the name. Well, no, it doesn't. It may do in their eyes, but you still have to go into that, and notice and confirm and take and submit and whatnot. Otherwise, we would be in what we call a dictatorship, and they do give you often a chance to. So, yes, Matthew, others on Facebook back in the day, no contact, no contract, no consent. But there is a thing, if you have a claim made and you're silent, what does that mean? You haven't done what? You haven't accepted it, you haven't dealt with it. It's a controversy in law, it's a controversy around the name, and you've ignored it. We've gone around this block before. So the other side of the coin is, I've lost my sharp knife. You haven't communicated, you haven't dealt with the controversy, you haven't been closure, you haven't got, you might come to deadlock. I talked about this with Simon Dawson a bit back, about getting results back with certain discharging of accounts and accounts coming to deadlock, not being settled or closed. This wasn't a criticism, it was just a chat about policy, procedure and what we're here to do. So if anybody's ever had any kind of experience with that, now's the time to speak up. But for me, if a controversy is raised at law and it isn't represented correctly, dealt with, acknowledged, and you ignore it, as we found out in the beginning when the Freeman articles and so forth and rebellions were saying this, that, the other, constitution, blah, 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 and it sounded in principle logical, but in practice and reality, and with regards to the CPS and bailiffs and collection and DCAs and whatnot, it really rendered you at a loss, and it put property, lives and assets at risk. It let the pre-action protocol and the presumptions and assumptions of law take over, which is not just, it's not right, and it's not proper. It isn't law, it's code, and it's the Roman divided pagan club coming in to do what it's there to do, with a non-British monarch sat at top issuing taxes from relevant offices not being British themselves, comparable to Roman parodies. So I suggest that if you're serious about anything in life, not just your council tax and your PCNs, but your blood and your soul and your energy, then I would urge you strongly to check this channel's playlist with those random videos in. No, they're not random, they're all put there for a reason, chosen by yours truly for your consciousness, soul, and the essence of the kundalini, the surprise, serpentine surprise, the serpentine of the zodiac, and the the magic is happening, let me tell you. So you need to frequent yourself with the playlist on my channel that I've made for you out of love, with no adverts, full straight through, and the heliocentric bibliotech decoded, and you need to get up to speed. And then when you've done that, I'll be ready with the officer agent interaction on how to go through the stop and search with the UK government guidelines from the .gov.uk, not made up by us, outlined by the British UK government, bearing in mind Boris and what he's about to do, and Brexit. There's a ticking clock here. And you know, if you would like to get out of this battle and not fall victim and prey, you know, to policy that's about to come, public policy that will be mandated and assumed upon your person from Westminster by default, it's now time to let them know we claim and we have a voice, and we do not require them to run, manage or do anything on our behalf, because we're quite conscious, alternative to awake. You say, oh, we're awake. Well, when one is awake, one needs to be conscionable and conscious of acts and how you act. And when you go into equity and you want the remedy and you want to go out into the world and help and be good, then you need to do that in a charitable, honourable, conscionable way. And they need to know that you can do that diligently and be released from this suckling teat of the nanny state. So there's a lot of hardcore, up to the minute, cutting, you know, edge opinions and thoughts and maths and history and proposals and last minute continuous improvement. Like I say, I was equivalent of a Renault 5 GTI fully customised on a nitrous oxide kit heading towards the London High Privy Courts, the Chancery Courts there, division, and some brave brother stepped out and extended the equivalent of, you know, when a fighter plane lands on a boat and it drops that arrestor hook and it catches that bungee cord and it stops it from skidding off the edge. Well, I just told you I'm going to look at Chancery, half-hour appointment, master, probate claim, CQV, rebuttal, all of this stuff. Targets locked on, let's have a look. Just about to consider heading down, Jetstream, Renault 5 turbo, nitrous oxide on, full red line, and then some brave man put that rubber line out and went, wait 1 minute, David. You've been talking Bible, you've been talking this, you might need to look here, and you might need to consider this, and you might want to, and we've said, paying thousands for remedy, getting coats of arms and flags and such forth and etc. is all up to you to discuss and choose, and you are free. But we saw it as a striking action of war, as a combatant, vexatious move. Yeah. So, as we chatted, as we did around the realm, and with Jason Wall, Andy Devine, King John Hunoy, Emma Ward, Sovereign Smithy, David and others, we saw what was going on and we didn't like it, you know, and this is why now when we heard others were asking for lots of money, coats of arms, seals, such things, there's your seal, coat of arms and things as such as war, no one's got that kind of money. The common man, that's not a remedy for the common man, that's apparent from the offset. So where is the common man's remedy? It's still missing. We think we've got it, we've found it, and it would be a crime to have this hidden and to charge man for it, if in fact it is for free. To have the knowledge to unbond and not to give it would be a crime in itself. So those that have it, that haven't given it, you know, that's on your conscience. And those that do manage to get the way forward, then you make that deal. You can't really do it afterwards anyway. You know, you'd have to go private and respect the authority, so to speak. Uncharted waters, pioneering ground. All right, so it is every man game, each for themselves. You have your conscience, you have your will, you have your future, and you have your offspring, assets, lineage, and yes, we are here as messengers only. No liability is taken by me, this channel, any of the interaction on the .com. It is an educational portal because we are educators. I'm an educator. I take it down. Smithy, S-M-I-T-H-Y. You know, nomad. We want to give you devotion. I'm not wiping bums. We're not here to wipe bums. We're here to save bums from getting kicked. We might kick a few bums ourselves, but we're definitely not here to wipe and to pander to and to be, accused of later down the line of something of which is nothing to do. It's a crazy old game. So education is the way. Never let schooling get in the way of your education. And we've all been schooled and fooled, and the real homeschool is happening now. I'm very honoured and privileged and privy and thankful for the love, the shares, the respect, the emails, the support, the testimonials. So stand by. We have the key competence last stage, the officer-agent interaction. That will be telephone, front door, and with regards to stop and search while you are walking about your business and in the general public, and then also if you are travelling in a private capacity, and then if you are in a commercial capacity, and how to represent that way with regards to road traffic, stop and search, liabilities, and how to handle the claims efficiently. Yeah. Simple basic information that you should know, that you should have. The fact it isn't there, the fact that the educational service didn't give us a handbook, yes, the fact that the police come into a school in their black uniforms when you're about 12 and go, drugs, they're bad, Charlie, ecstasy, Nicky Lauder, don't take them. And they put the fear of God in you as a little adolescent in their dark black uniform, imposing upon the tiny children. Dirty little cognitive warfare is what that is. Don't bother sitting you down and not wearing the uniform, coming in and meeting you at the same level, at eye level, all of these things. They know what they're doing. This is the fear, and the way that the system likes to instill. And as we said, there is no love. There is no anything when you are classified as a man, woman in sin, in a divided pagan club of Rome, claiming the name and going against the Father when you are in a civilly active battle of religious conceptualization with your spirit and soul. Money, gold, assets mean shit compared to, all that kind of craziness. Please look for Jonathan Pye. I am inspired and love this man. I'd like to swear and go off like Jonathan Pye does. If you don't know Jonathan Pye, why don't you know? Don't be shy, try some pie. Jonathan, YouTube, he's the fake news man who does a lot of stuff. He cheers me up lots. If you need a cheer up, search Jonathan Pye on YouTube and you will see why I love Jonathan Pye. Big shout to that man. Boris. Parliaments, laws. Yeah. Hilarious. So I'm going to be here all week. I'm looking after the princess and sorting stuff out. Adminemails.com, YouTube, playlist, Patreon, you name it, I'm on it. Steady away. And I'm just going to leave it at that for now and say thank you, much love. I hope you get where I'm coming from. It works in mysterious ways. Let me tell you, we're seeing evidences of it, synchronicities. I'll try and get the seminar annual conference lined up for the middle of September, possibly one up by past Sheffield, in between Leeds and Sheffield, and then I've got the option of the Bosnia House for maybe the end of September, so we could look at Midlands and North in the next 4 weeks. So stand by for updates and notifications of any annual meeting conference that I'd like to have. We're getting a lot of requests for them, so you've got an option going up north from Sheffield or going down to Birmingham from the Midlands, or up north from Londonish to the Midlands, and obviously east, I believe, from Wales, and south from Scotland. We still need to get up north and say hello, Ockeye the New, to the northern north of the Hebrides, Famalan, and get established there. That's one thing I'd like to do as soon as possible. So the Love in Year 10 is there. We've got the coursework, we could go on tour. Please see the videos and the playlist that I've mentioned. They're for a reason. It's been a pleasure for me to embarrass myself, and to your gain, and hopeful it wasn't so painful for you. And I promise not to do that too often. I'll stick to what I'm good at, as we all should. Easy, John. How you doing? Nice to see you, my man. I stood on the carrier ranger. We got on here. I got that. Yes, car credit, Eric. Feckery, bankruptcy. Thank you, Fly. Much love to you. Could use half of his energy. My cup runneth over. I'm powered by the spirit of the cosmos. All right. 9 of May. Spawn man. Alpha, not Omega. So I'm a son of May, born on the magical 9th. Wow, from a mum who's a magical mum. You've seen her briefly. I can't tell you such magical things that are private, but she's on it. It's just incredible. I thought it was crazy when I was little, what she went on about. Often ones that talk different out of the beat box, and Josh, I love that shit. And I've caught up late, well behind. Embarrassing. Taking that away, ego to the bin, just crack on with it. Doesn't matter. You don't know what you don't know, and when you find stuff later on that initially in the beginning confused and compounded you, then you see it again later, and through your own due diligence and research and efforts, you read it again and you're like, arms, eyes popping out, steam out the ears, alarm bells, and you're like, aye, it didn't make sense before, but now word perfect. So that's how it is. It's just wisdom will appear as knowledge to those without the conceptualization and backup to take that in. So what we're at now is we are seeing knowledge turning into wisdom, wisdom and knowledge, notices, and the scholars that are out there. It's absolutely amazing the work they have done. The scholars are to be commended. That is it. We have finished. Queen is here. Much love. Ciao bello. Bosh. I'll see you soon. It's dinner time.